My name is Tobi and I'm 25. I run an online bookstore and distribution company called Roving Heights. I'm deeply passionate about books. I am a creative, and since I started my business, it's been a roller coaster ride, but I'm enjoying every bit of it. Roving Heights started precisely in August 2015, and since then it's been a beautiful journey so far. So Roving Heights started because I wanted to connect with people of like minds, people who were deeply fascinated by books as much as I am. While in secondary school, I found out that the kind of books that appealed to me were African literature, and there were very few people who felt deeply passionate about them as much as I do. And then in the quest to actually find those people, I came to realize that the reason people weren't reading African books was because they couldn't access them. I was only privileged enough to have access to them because I attended a few book fairs that hold in secluded major cities in Nigeria, and then could actually easily get those books. And the bulk of the names people were familiar with were John Grisham, J.K. Collins, and a couple of other foreign authors like that. And so for me, it became a struggle, because when I wanted to talk about books like by Chimamanda and a couple of authors like that, there were very few people who understood what I was trying to say. I know, so that had always been a problem, and Roving Heights came in a bid to actually solve that particular problem. I would first of all want to smile at that particular quote. It's quite a popular one that everyone is deeply, knows so much about and all. And basically, that's a question that a lot of people, when they find out I'm into books, would always ask. Like, do people actually read that much in Nigeria and then maybe Africa at large? I would really want to say that yes. Okay. It's not as bad as we all seem to profess. The truth of the matter is that the things that people read just differ. A lot of times you find out that, whether it's on your mobile phone, you're visiting a blog or something, people are actually hungry for content and information in this age and time. But a lot of times you just find out that many of them are not carrying physical books around and all that. But when you put together a very rich information in a book, and it's seeks to actually appeal to a particular kind of audience, you end up finding out that people actually read. So yes, Nigerians and Africans actually read, just that what interests them in books might differ from genres to genre. Yeah. So basically, a lot of work has to go into actually making the reading culture in general look really, really good. Okay. If there's anything that distinguishes Roving Heights, is the fact that we are all in the business of making reading the new cool again. So before now, whenever you perhaps carry books around, people just think you're a geek or you're antisocial and a couple of other things like that. And so building around a number of campaigns that are targeted towards, making people realize that books are actually interesting, reading is not as bad as they think it is one way to actually rekindle people's interest in it. And then another thing, which is the core of what we are all about, is to ensure that books are actually accessible to all and sundry. So before now, when you want to get a book to read, it's either you have to walk into a brick and mortar store to purchase one, but it would be a good thing if we can actually leverage new media platforms and social media to make such books accessible to people now. So people do not have to actually struggle all the way to move from their house before they can actually get access to a book. So solving the problem of accessibility is another way to ensure that the reading culture in Nigeria and Africa at large is way better. And then publicity too, which is very much in line with campaign, like I actually mentioned earlier. So many amazing stories churned out by Africans or from the African continent that so many people are not aware of. We could do a lot of work to make a lot of buzz and generate a lot of noise around them, and you will find out that people really want to read them. So first, it's the fact that we are customer-centric. Okay. Every bit of what we do is centered around our buyers, around our customer. We try to offer impeccable customer service delivery. So it's the digital world now. The future of everything is actually digital, and one of the things we're known for is our swift delivery across Nigeria. So basically, whenever anybody comes on our platform to order a particular book, you can actually get the book within Lagos in less than 24 hours, and outside of Lagos you get it within 2 to 3 working days interval. Another thing we try to do is to make people realize that whatever it is that you're buying from us, we are genuinely interested in you, just not buying the book but actually reading it. And so that is more or less like there's a social impact side to what we do, because we know, okay, we are in a business of actually solving a problem, a very critical problem on the continent at large. So it's all about getting people to read again and making reading or books the new cool again, so to speak. Yeah. So the first question is, everybody, whenever I tell them, oh, I'm into the book business, ask is, so are you sure you're making money? Like, are you? But I'm always quick to say that of course I am. And even though initially it wasn't all about profits, we were only struggling to break even when we were during our first 1 year. Okay. But as time went on, the reception became way better, and then we have a team, we have staff that work with us and equally share the vision and what we do. And so the first challenge was to, first of all, reach the kind of audience we're trying to appeal to. So we had because we're basically operating in the virtual space online, it was pretty very difficult for us to get the kind of followings and audience that we wanted across social media platforms, which were the ways through which we wanted to target to reach out to our audience. So it was a struggle a bit getting that following, then gaining the trust of people as well, because Nigerians are actually used to walking into stores to more or less pick up books, and also when you tell them that, okay, trust us on this, you're placing an order for a book, it will get to you even if you are in Zamfara, we'll get the book across to you and all. So it was sort of like difficult initially earning their trust. Then the third issue, which is not peculiar to the book industry alone, is book business alone, is the general economic challenges that face small businesses in Nigeria. First, with infrastructure and managing the ineptitude of courier service companies that have to help us with delivery, and then the other challenges with the economy at large. So recession setting at a particular point in time, the cost of shipping in books from outside of the country at some point got pretty very expensive, and it was very difficult for us to convince our audience that, okay, fine, this book might seem expensive, but it's actually what you read and all of that. But all of that over time we've been able to combat, and we're still working hard at getting better at it. Always quick to say, whenever I get to this point of a question, that I feel still very young in the game. Like it's just going to be 2 years this month, and saying or sounding all, how do I put it now, veteran, and saying, oh, this is what you should do or no. I'm just going to break it down and get really real. The truth of the matter is there are no quick wins on this particular journey. It's first of all, has to boil down to why you're doing this business. What's the passion, and what's driving you is actually very, very key. And then I would also encourage a little bit of persistence and consistency on the sides too. So nothing good comes easy. That's a lot of the first thing that always comes to mind whenever a challenge comes on board on my business, and I come to realize that there's a need for you to actually keep pushing, keep pressing, even if it's not looking like it, and let that passion and the sight of the goal always be at the back of your mind, and eventually your startup one day will become a large business that would bring each and every bit of your dream to life. Yeah. Okay, so beyond buying books on our store, you can actually click on a particular link that takes you to where you can get our contact details and get in touch with us if you want to donate books to people who really need them. So we try to target places where, the less privileged, people who are not privileged to walk into a store or perhaps buy online and all. So we'll partner with NGOs and to actually donate books to motherless baby homes. There are quite a number of foundations that we've done that with in the past. Then aside that too, I also believe that there are some group of people that the society barely pay attention to, and those are the people that actually need books to shape their mode of thinking or transform them. Those are prison, inmates and all that. So most of the books that people donate to us, we try and send to prisons within our reach, and then IDP camps as well. We do a little bit of that on the side too, and then we work with Motherless Babies Home and a couple of other platforms like that to reach out to people. I would say the entitlement mindset.
Okay.
I think it's high time Africans start, asking the government or the society for what it would do for them. It's high time they start seeing what they can do to make the society and the world a better place. And before now, we are always quick to give excuses or make excuses why you're not doing this. So we have limited resources, or there are no infrastructures and amenities in place for me to bring my dreams or ideas to life. I believe many of those things might be true, but you really need to be dogged and believe so much in what you're pursuing enough to go for it. So nobody is going to make, bring anything. Nothing is going to come to you on a platter of gold. That's the truth of the matter. It won't fall from heaven on your laps. You actually have to doggedly go after it. That's the truth of the matter. And a lot of times people see pretty face and the success stories and all of that, but they forget that a lot of hard work must have happened at the back end before you can actually see the person come out front to share his or her story and all. So the entitlement mentality really has to change. You shouldn't expect that things are just going to fall on your laps. You really need to go for it. If there are doors, you don't wait for the door to open up to you. You go bang at it
and push it down.
In fact, even if ensure that the door comes down to you get what you actually want, you make something good out of your life and all of those ideas eventually. So that changes from time to time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't live my life by so many of these quotes at a time, like just one quote and I'm running with and all. But the most recent of such quotes that is really pushing me hard at what I'm doing right now is something Kelvin Hart said in a video that I stumbled on the internet. It's the fact that there are no quick wins, there are no benefit or successes in quick wins. A lot of times you really need to go the hard way. You really need to work hard before you can eventually get whatever it is that you want. The truth of the matter is people want the fast road. We live in a very fast life. Everybody wants quick successes. You want your story to be all out there immediately and all that. But it doesn't happen that way. You really need to put in a lot of work at the back end before your success can actually be known all home and abroad, so to speak. So the truth of the matter is that there are no quick wins, there are no quick routes, there are no fast routes. You need to do the work. Yeah. So I'm a creative, a content junkie, yes. Okay. So I do a bit of writing. I studied English from Obafemi Awolowo University, so I've always had my way with writing. So on the side I write. All after anything interested in creative ventures in general. And then I have a blog as well. I blog.
I was expecting that.
I blog, even though as much as possible I don't like to make that public. So on the side I do writing, I do a little bit of consulting as well. So for those watching, I'm sure as a young person, you're bustling with so many ideas, you're bustling with so many things you really want to do. You have a number of dreams and all that. I just want to encourage you to push hard at it and don't just allow those ideas die within you. really need to take actions to see them materialize. And so the truth of the matter is that the difference between successful people and unsuccessful ones are those that actually take actions. So don't just allow your ideas and dreams die with you. You really need to try. And like they say, there's actually no harm in trying. The worst that can happen is that it doesn't happen. But you can actually beat your chest that you've worked at it and you've given it a try. So put your ideas to actions.